Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds, hanging out with.
Nerdarchy Ted.
And what's the player supposed to do when his pet is smarter than him?
Jump down the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
Today we address a GM911 from Thomas, which you can find the original post in the description below. Remember, if you guys have your own GM911s, you can send them to us at nerdarchy@gmail.com. GM911 in the subject line.
All right, so this boils down to Thomas is the DM. His Artificer had a low intelligence score, which he fixed by giving him a headband of intellect. No problems there. Well, now the player has reached a level where he's going to build a mechanical servant, and the player wants to give the mechanical servant the headband of intellect, taking it from an intelligence of 2 to 19. How does he handle this? Does the thing become free thinking? Does it have the ability to speak, do commands, what have you? How do you handle it?
This is actually less of a problem than you think. Because here's the thing. I think like everyone now has a computer or a cell phone. And the truth of the matter is these devices are smarter than us. But for the most part, they really can't do anything you don't tell them to do. So essentially what he's going to do is create a supercomputer.
That makes a lot of sense.
With it, with his construct. But again, it still needs commands. It can't do anything it isn't told to do. Yeah, I might give it some languages or something like that it understands. But without direction, it still won't act on them. So it may have all this information and all this capacity, but the inability to use it, because it doesn't necessarily have free will, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's sentient. Like my computer isn't sentient, I hope.
So I look at this as a couple questions involved. Number one, it creates a construct. There's nothing that I've seen anywhere that says constructs can or can't attune to magic items. If in the creation process he allows it to attune and the GM says, I allow it, okay, it's got an intelligence of 19. It's not a dumb construct or a robot. It has the ability to understand greater commands. Perhaps
you can give it complex instructions and it can follow them.
So perhaps you could say, okay, it can follow, two steps of a command per intelligence modifier. So if it's got an intelligence of 19, that could be, up to 8 different commands that it can do. All right, go take out the trash, go fetch laundry, blah, 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 blah. It can go do these things and then come back. It doesn't have to do one thing at a time like a stupid construct would.
Or, maybe there's some chances to really have some fun with this. Like, you command, destroy all evil beings. And then it assesses the fact that all humanoid beings are capable of evil, so it must now destroy them all. And it can become the villain in your campaign.
Well, that would be hilarious if you wound up going with that. But I think that would definitely take away from what the DM is trying to do or what the player is trying to do. I think if you went above 20 and you gave it a command like that, I think that might take it out there like the iRobot thing.
Yeah. So at its core, I don't think as a GM, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I would just, like I said, mainly it's the biggest benefit is, the possibility that it could have languages, language and more languages that it can understand. It could translate for you, even if they're languages that you don't have. You could it would be able to follow a series of commands. Maybe you could think of it almost like having basic programs that could run on its own without a whole lot of input from you. Perhaps you almost treat it like animal training. So a version of handle animals. So whatever it would take to train animals to do tricks, whatever ruling you're using for that, you can kind of do it. And it's so certain parameters, it'll do certain things.
Yeah, it could handle an if-then statement without a problem.
Yeah, pretty much. If the newspaper gets dropped at the front door, bring it in. It could do that with ease. Or If someone who doesn't have this, have a key tries to enter the tower, keep them out.
Now, part of me looks at this as okay. The Artificer was given the headband of intellect because he had a low stat. Now he's taken the headband of intellect off to give it to his construct.
The construct is now smarter than him.
The construct is now smarter than him. So I would absolutely play that angle of it up. I would have so much fun with it's like, are you sure? There's a better way of doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. You could definitely do things like that for comedic effect,
Yeah,
and role playing, and like literally, it is smarter than you now. We don't know what the intelligence was, but if you're using a headband of intellect to raise above wherever you are, clearly it is smarter than you. But again, it isn't necessarily sentient. But you could have a little bit of fun with it, and have it make observations.
Yeah, I would definitely treat it, like the way every once in a while Alfred kind of, twerks Batman's nose with.
Well, a better example might be Jarvis and Tony Stark.
Yeah, that would definitely work, and that would actually be far more apropos to the situation.
Yeah, so you could definitely do things like that, and I would try and find ways to turn it into adventure hooks where. Because your construct follows a much broader, more complex tasks and commands, but maybe sometimes he messes up a little bit just because of lack of comprehension, because he doesn't have the experience or wisdom to draw upon. So maybe he follows your instructions, and then a mob shows up with torches and pitchforks because he might have accidentally squished someone's cat or something. But yeah, I would definitely try and find situations to interject some comedic relief with that. It feels like it has to happen.
Absolutely. So how would you handle this in your games? Would you allow it in your games? It's a great place to continue that conversation. That's down in the conversation below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
You can check us out over at nerdarchy.com.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.